AITA for asking my boyfriend to get rid of his hentai? I, 24F, moved in with my boyfriend, 27M, of almost a year around 4 months ago. Prior to this, our relationship was pretty good. But after moving in I realized some stuff about him that frankly, I probably would not have known beforehand. He has a really weird and frankly off-putting obsession with hentai. He has skimpy anime girls with massive breasts as all of his laptop wallpapers. He has an entire folder of his bookshelves have a bunch of soft porny manga. He has posters with skimpy anime girls on them, along with figures of scantily clad anime girls and video game characters. And around half of the games he plays have these insanely hypersexualized female characters who he often plays as. He's an artist and his sketchbooks are half taken up by art of a similar nature. If this was just the porn he liked to look at privately, whatever. I wouldn't care. If it was just a few anime figures, whatever. A little weird. But I still wouldn't care that much. The problem I have is that this obsession with porny cartoon women extends way further into his life than just his taste in porn. The issue is, you would never know he was into this sort of stuff from just meeting him. He never talks about it or acts skeevy or brings it up. The only reason I even know is because I live with him. I basically sat down and told him I don't like how prevalent the hentai and softcore anime porn stuff is in our house. I told him it makes me uncomfortable in my own house. I asked him to either box it up and put it away, or to get rid of it entirely. He refused. So I tried to find a way to compromise. I asked him to start small, like maybe just putting the anime figures in storage and changing his desktop wallpaper, but told him his obsession with this sort of media makes me uncomfortable. He offered to take down the posters above his desk and move the anime figures in his desk to another part of our apartment so they wouldn't be displayed so prominently, but refused to change his desktop background or put the figures away. I told him that anyone who comes in our apartment is going to think he's a skeevy porn creep, and that I find the fact that he's this into hentai stuff off-putting. He told me I was trying to police his interests or what he's allowed to own or have in our house. And it devolved into an argument. AITA? Can you help reconcile these two statements that you made? This obsession with porny cartoon women extends way further into his life than just his taste in porn. You would never know he was into this sort of stuff from just meeting him. He never talks about it or acts skeevy or brings it up. In the end, if you're not compatible, you are absolutely within your rights to end the relationship. Draw me like one of your girls, Jack. Info. Where is this happening? Bedroom? Our common areas guests would be likely to visit. The latter gives you more leeway to object because it's your place too. Info. How the hell didn't you notice this? Did you never arrange to see how he lived? I mean, if you were ever in his prior apartment bedroom, you wouldn't be able to miss it if he's always like this. It's one thing to miss some little poster on the wall, but if it's all over the place you'd have to have seen it. The assholery turns entirely on where these things are. You can't just be like, this part of your life you seem to be really into needs to go right now. I suppose you can, but it'd have to be, or I'm going to leave, form. Which might not get you the result you want. NTA. I don't think softcore hentai is appropriate apartment decorations for adults who want to have guests and a normal life. He has some growing up to do. Okay, first of all, it's not all over the apartment, as Op claims if it's just his desk. Given it's the computer background, some figurines on his desk and a couple of posters above it. Sounds to me like they're not compatible if she's going to trash his interests. I'm really between ESH and NAH. First of all, That's not hentai. It's just not. I came here really wanting to be on your side op, but I just can't after reading the whole post. A lot of anime and gamer type culture involves fanservice and super sexualized female characters. It's part of the allure of the fandom. Do I think it's a little bit childish? Yes. Would I bar my partner from engaging with it? Absolutely not. Do I think a grown adult man should base his entire decoration style around anime titties? Hell no. That said though, this is clearly something he is passionate about. I don't think barring him from expressing it at all is a healthy way to start off cohabitating. If you are really serious about staying with this guy, and honestly given how you framed this, I don't think you are. Maybe a little compromise is in order. I've watched this scenario play out a million times before, even been a part of it myself, and this is what I have seen works. If there are enough rooms to do so, designate one room as a room for that type of artwork, decor. For example, I have a witch room for all my spiritual decor and books to keep them out of the central parts of the house. This is my choice to avoid issues with religious family members. My fiancé has all his various outdoor and hiking gear in his office. My best friend and her husband have their office set up so they both have their various interests on display in a non-objectionable way. He has all his Legos and Transformers figurines set up nicely, and she has her small library on the other side with all her craft things. The rest of the house is set up very nicely with little touches of both of them, but nothing that screams NERRRRRRRD. Quote, if that doesn't work for y'all, be it because space is limited or you just cannot allow him to have any safe space to express himself, find the figurines, art pieces you find the least objectionable and offer to allow those to stay in. That he pack up the more objectionable ones and politely explain why. Explain that he doesn't have to get rid of them, but that you would prefer he have some of the more profane ones put up. If none of that works, get out of his house, honey. Info. I wish we could see the figures etc. Because a lot of mainstream anime figures look really sus, but I wouldn't expect my partner to put away their Asuna figure or their Rem figure YK. But if it's some niche-ass hentai and it's all super graphic, then I can see having an issue with that. I think asking him to change his desktop background is a bit far. Who else is using his PC besides himself? And with the figures, that's often a normal part of the hobby, so without knowing how it all looks, it's hard to judge. Asking him to take down presumably large posters of scantily clad women seems reasonable though. That's much more in your face than figures on a shelf or desk. And if the issue is that you aren't able to decorate how you want, then that is a different issue, and you should definitely be able to have a say in customizing the home. Whether that means you each get different rooms to decorate or certain things become a compromise, etc.
Time to move out emo.
This was posted a few months ago word for word. YTA. After reading your replies and seeing pictures of a couple figurines, I can honestly say YTA. Expecting someone to change what they're into and how they want to decorate is asshole behavior. You gave him an ultimatum. Put them away or get rid of them. He gave you a compromise. Move them out of the way. And from the pictures you've provided, they don't seem to be that lewd. Definitely not hentai. He should break up with you, and then you can decorate however you want. Just leave him, girl. NTA. NSFW anime stuff is for college apartment decorations, not decor for a shared space with your partner. I am saying this as someone with a Sailor Moon merch collection. I would question if this is the kind of person you want to spend your life, or even just the next few years, with. Not because he watches hentai, But because he's not getting your discomfort with it and making his obsession with lewd anime women known to anyone who comes into your home, the fact that he has no sense of shame about it is genuinely concerning. Info. If you had more space and he has his own gaming, office, hobby room and kept all the stuff in there, would that be okay? Info. Going off of all the comments you've made, I feel like we need a better idea of what exactly these figures or posters are of. You say they're hentai. He says they aren't. They could be ecchi. Or this could be blown out of proportion. As some people have different levels of comfort with lewdness or suggestivity. If they're normal anime figures, there's nothing wrong with that. If she has her whole ass spread, then there's some issues. At the moment, YTA for failing to come to any sort of compromise other than get rid of all of your probably expensive things because I don't like them after moving in together. When a house should be equal parts both of yours. He offered to move his stuff to a more secluded place. You flat out denied him and basically offered nothing in return. How come he can't just hide the figures and posters when guests come over? You never went to his place before you moved in? I'm calling bulls. Before moving in with him, did you never visit his house? How prominent can it be if you never noticed it before when you were dating, visiting, sleeping over, etc.? YTA. Even his desktop? When do you even see that? And timing feels like now that you moved in you think you can dictate what he gets to like. How does it reach further into his life if the literal only reason you know about it is from moving into a place he previously, presumably, lived in alone? YTA. You said yourself you'd never know. He doesn't act skeevy. He's a normal dude and an artist. This is one of the mediums he likes. Personally, I don't care about hentai and such, so I wouldn't deck my place out in it. But I certainly have gaming decorations, etc. Also, not everyone wants socializing to take place in their apartment, so they decorate for themselves. YTA and learned a lesson. Your post doesn't suggest he has this from you. You didn't do your due diligence. You have a responsibility to identify your deal breakers and communicate. And this should have been done before you moved in. You say you could never tell he had this interest? But it's pervasive in the apartment and takes up half or a majority of his artistic output. I suspect you never really paid him attention for who he was. Do him a favor and let him go. Let this poor dude find a partner that shares his interest. I can't tell whether this is anime, hentai, or full-on porn. Op is not a reliable reporter. She's super unaware of this world. Nah, he has a right to like what he wants. If it was a model train collection, or records, or whatever, wanting to display and own that facet of personality is a God-given right. Trying to force him to hide it, expressing you're ashamed of it and others would be too, is a very blurred sentiment of being ashamed of him. It will sour your relationship a ton. On the other hand, you don't like it, and he can't force you to. I don't like it either. It's uncomfortable. Even if he boxed up all his stuff, he will still like it, enjoy it, and it will be a part of him. Can you come to terms with that? You can't erase it from your shared life together no matter what. He deserves a personal space for his hobbies, his office, and trying to control his space is not healthy for either of you. This would be a deal breaker for me and I'd walk away. I do not mesh with otaku culture. And personally I think that it's often an indicator of many red flags. Not all people, of course. But my personal experiences with people who enjoy this was not good, and I used to be really into anime, and I mean all genders who partake. Grow up and get out, or suck it up and learn to love the whole person. I hate it where people enter relationships with the intent to fix people. Nah, and it's crazy the amount of neckbeards under 20 Never been in a serious relationship dudes. Taking offense to this post. Replace anime girls with FHM magazine cutouts and car culture posters. Is it porn? No. Is it something that needs to be considered when moving ASO into your home? Absolutely. If your girlfriend says something is off-putting, you better read between the lines. If you like having sexy time, because intimacy really hinges on your partner not being put off. Hopefully he understands the consequences of dying on that hill. We call lessons like these growing up.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.